Straight men of Reddit, what is something you've been told not to do because it's gay? This ISON account 2306 said, stand with my hands on my hips. Wolferoys 555 said, when I was a teenager, I was playing Zelda, Wind Waker, and a guy friend was watching me play. The game was a couple of years old at that point, and I asked him if he had ever played it before, and he said no, because if I did my dad would have called me gay. So I guess my answer is Zelda, Wind Waker. Vadriger Von Savage said, paying men any sort of compliment on their appearance or anything like that. The was shit that bothered me all throughout school. Dude comes in with a fresh ass haircut, you say, hey man, looks nice, and he thinks you want to put your dick in him. Friskagonu Wild said, when I was young, it was gay to look at your nails with your palm facing away, but straight if you had your palm facing you with your fingers curled. Maybe it helps to have such ridiculously arbitrary criteria in rural areas, so that gay people out there have a blueprint for how to appear straight to avoid getting beaten up by insecure dipshits. Fearlessator 85 said, I was told it was gay to keep your wallet in your left pocket. My dad was pretty surprised to hear that, since he's been doing that for his whole life. It all makes sense in retrospect from years later, because he always wore flannel and boots, drove Subarus, and really liked boobs. So, it turned out he was a lesbian. Beanie0911 said, I feel for you, brother. I never got the last worst part, the hitting, but I got teased and bullied by my parents for crying and being sensitive. It makes you question everything about yourself because the emotions coursing through your body are labeled as wrong. I can only imagine that combined with the trauma of being physically harmed. So sorry. Then as adults we learn boys need more emotional support, not less. So effed up. For example, https://www.huffingtonpost.ca/boys-emotional-support_boys-a-emotional-support_232807337/. Paw said, as a young teen, I wanted to learn an instrument, and I always loved bagpipes, so naturally I asked my parents if I could get bagpipe lessons. My dad forbid me to, because apparently I just wanted an excuse to wear skirts, and that's gay. Shortly after I gave up on that, I asked for other instruments, but drums were out of the picture because too loud, and my last wish in that regard was wanting to take piano lessons, but piano was immediately out of the picture because only gays play piano. So yeah, I gave up on instruments after that. Paw said, he could barely any contact to him nowadays, albeit for completely different reasons. Both my parents actually thought my girlfriend of 6 years this August was just an alibi girlfriend, and it only just occurred to my mom that that wasn't the case like halfway through our relationship. For some odd reason, they were both really afraid that I might turn out gay, and that just because of my interests and hobbies, and the fact that I had mostly female friends, as in, buddies, and was more or less pretty shy. Jers said, I don't really know anything about Star Trek, but I know for some time, for some people, just being smart, reading books, be good at maths, or any science, and like things like Star Trek, or any board card game that wasn't Monopoly, meant you were gay. Because real men are out there trying to get laid etc. IDK, it's weird, not being overly sexual somehow meaning you were gay was just weird. Kale 127 said, from my experience growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, caring at all about your appearance. You don't wear Axe? You smell gay, totally unironically believing that scent should be palatable to men more than women because that makes you less gay. You can fuss over your hair, if it's an approved non-gay style and if appropriate length, but worry about your shirt or your pants? That's gay. Just dress like a slob. That's what real men do. Wearing or even liking certain colors. Yellow? Gay. Light blue? Gay. Pink? Vegeta wore it in DBZ, so it was 50/50 if it was gay or not. Feeling any emotion at all. Crying is one of the biggest gateway drugs to being homosexual. If you cry you're weak, and weak is gay. Being afraid of anything other than being gay is gay. You have to be afraid of being gay. But don't you dare be afraid of anything else. Chakakuru said, listen, if I'm paying for alcohol, I want it to taste delicious as I get fucked up. There's a bar by me that does some amazing cocktails ranging from $10-20 and they are amazing. I have been out with friends who would not order certain drinks because of girly ingredients. Edit. I'm not saying people can't have restrictions on taste and preference for alcohol for whatever reason, but you can restrict your mouth about others' choices. That doesn't affect you is all I'm saying. Goes for a lot of things. Goldhoffsensheen said. I knew a guy in his 60s, born again and very homophobic. He didn't want to swim in the same pool as a gay guy because he might catch something, never determine if he was afraid of catching being gay or a disease or what. Anyway, he exclusively drank grape vodka with pink lemonade. So even the most homophobic old guy I've ever known could get past the girly drink thing. And having spent 7 years at a liquor store, those straight guys can get past a lot of their self-imposed rules when their buddies aren't watching. Minis of whipped cream vodka went almost exclusively to straight-appearing men by themselves. Native Masshole said. We used to have a guy at my work who bought all into the super macho army guy mentality. Come on dude, you're in the Air Force Reserves. He was trying to give me shit for owning a cat. I told him that I'm secure enough in my sexuality that I didn't care, then pointed out that he's the one uncomfortable with it. Subject was changed pretty quickly after that. Poor man's Tony Stark said. Let's see. Drive a certain car. Actually, it's the other way around. Only a few cars are straight, I'm told. Everything else is gay. Not to wear red, pink, purple, yellow. Long hair. Fruity drinks, cider, anything that tastes good. Donuts with pink coating. Fur lining on winter coat hoods. Pea coats. Shoulder bags, laptop or not. Laughing. There's tons more, but I can't be bothered to remember more because I'll start to get irritated. All these came from the adults I grew up with and my, now ex-friends. Just, get a grip and grow up, you're being pathetic. Goosebangstchurl said. Drinking or ordering any alcohol beverage that isn't beer. I knew a guy who didn't drink wine, margaritas or vodka mixed with any fruit drinks because he was a real man and thinks if any other man drinks then they must be gay because those are girly drinks. Just imagine being so self-conscious about yourself that you have to have a certain alcohol beverage dictate your way of thinking. Gumbibim said. Being vulnerable around other men. I'm certainly not homophobic, but my father was very toxic and ridiculed me for being emotional from a very early age. So I subconsciously keep my guard up around men and lower my guard around women. And it's not just my dad either. A lot of other men, of course not all of them, get uncomfortable around vulnerability. So now I just have stronger friendships with women than I do men, generally. Paliaber1 said. I, a straight white redneck, am constantly saying weird gay shit to my gay black work friend. Do I mean any of it seriously? No. But does it make both of us laugh? Fuck yeah it does. Listen. I love working with the guy. He's one of my close friends and we work good together. I always tease him by telling him he needs to go get that dude's number. And he does the same to me but with girls. I've nothing but respect for that sassy son of a bitch. Just some a-hole said. One of my best friends came out a couple of years ago, then came out as trans. We have a friendship much like this, because it didn't change a thing between us. Hell, no too long ago we were at Target getting her some things for her new apartment. And as we were in the self-checkout lane I started doing shit behind her back, but in full view of the camera, which was displaying on a screen in the lane. Doing shit like rubbing 9 nipples through my sweatshirt and pretending to enjoy it, making happy faces all the while. She caught it on the screen out of the corner of her eye and just started busting up, laughing her ass off, then getting mad that I was distracting her. KR 1735 said. Parenthetically, this question could be directed at everyone, as we all live in a heteronormative world and have, at one point or another, been discouraged from doing something perceived as gay, whether we actually are gay or not. For me, it was having a close Molly friend. I got really close, platonically, to a guy in high school. We'd shoot hoops together, have lunch together each day, listen to music in his car, he'd drive me home since I didn't have my license yet. Basically inseparable. He was like the brother I never had. Then out of the blue he said he had to end our friendship because people were talking about us. Rarely heard from him after that and never saw him again after high school. Redditor on LSD said. Can relate to everything you're saying. But you didn't mention any interest in being physically intimate. Would being intimate with a guy bother you? Because if I had the choice between only being able to have sex with women or be non-sexually intimate with a best friend, I'd choose the latter. Some of my best memories are ones like strolling through the woods while holding hands with a close friend, or taking MDMA and cuddling on the bed with my friend and his girlfriend. It was never gay. I think the most suitable analogy is playing with your dog. You can hug, cuddle, and rub your dog and nobody will ever think that you want to fuck it. He's just your best friend and you love him. I wish more people would talk about this. Touch isolation is a big contributor to mental health problems. Nitsuajwa said. When I was 16, in the car I laid my head on my best friend's lap crotch to go to sleep during a family vacation. They freaked out saying that we were homosexuals and couldn't sleep in the same room anymore during the trip. We were just secure enough in our sexuality and comfortable enough with each other to allow each other to sleep like that in order to be comfortable on a long drive. I mean, sure, we changed in front of each other on a regular basis. We shared a bed but we were roommates. Funny thing is we hooked up with a bachelorette party in Vegas during that trip, so not gay. And who cares if we were, right? Anonymous Loot said. Compliments towards other men, skincare products, close relationships with other men, holding a non-romantic relationship with women, painting nails, wearing jewelry, hugging other men, admiring other men's physique or appearance in general, dyeing my hair and beard, and basically expressing emotion or any sort of physical action that could be viewed as feminine. It's fucked. Especially coming from a religion-dominated childhood, it's so fucked how a community can convince you that these artificial constraints on your masculinity are anything but that, artificial and meaningless. Recrawlo24 said. Someone trying to shame me owning a gun tried to use homosexuality to make me anti-gun. By showing that artwork where it's guns getting blowjobs by fat white rednecks. Cupping magazine wells like balls while drool drips off the barrel. Congratulations, they ascended from me ignoring them to lighting them up on their homophobic art show, and as someone who's lost a friend to suicide, it really made me fucking angry. They got angry saying it's not homophobic or for suicide. I tagged my gay friend and oh man, he rampaged saying it was incredibly homophobic and that he and his husband carry because they got death threats by a local Bible thumper. That person blocked us. Kung-Fu Panda said. Complimenting other guys. I can appreciate a good-looking dude without being gay, not that there is anything wrong with that. I seen a guy the other week that had killer arms. I went and commented to him saying his arms were looking awesome, and he lit up like a Christmas tree and thanked me saying he's been working hard on it and that although women like a fit guy, they don't really appreciate what goes into building arms like his. A compliment feels good if it comes from a guy or girl. A real man doesn't not do things because it's gay. He does what he wants regardless of what people think. I was a kickboxing world champion many years ago and I consider myself pretty manly, yet I still kiss my brothers when we meet, compliment other guys and let my kids put makeup on me. The armchair everyman said. I scrolled pretty far and saw a few people mention crossing their legs. I assume they mean crossing thighs together knee on knee. I've heard that one before, had questions myself until I spent a few years watching my dad sit like that. The one I got hit with was around 8th grade. We're sitting in one of those circles of chairs where you go around, name and random fact. I am slouching the hell out of that piece of plastic junk and cross my ankles. That's what the schmuck on the other side of the circle had a problem with. I like to sit with my feet out and ankles crossed. No one else knew what the hell he was talking about. Eventually we moved on. Now onto the one I'm guilty of. I got no idea on context, or why the hell we had hard copy. We were in elementary school, in the computer lab working on something to do with Elvis. I think this was an album cover. He's sitting slouched on the curb with a pile of letters reading other people's mail. Somehow I couldn't comprehend how that did not make him gay. What about his wife and kids? It's illegal to read other people's mail, but that has nothing to do with gayness. How is sitting on the curb gay? I had no coherent responses to any retorts, but my brain wouldn't let go of its arbitrary position. Retrosonic82 said. Not me, my husband. He plays guitar and used to paint his nails with clear nail polish because the strings would tear them up. He told me that when he was in uni, he borrowed a girlfriend's black nail polish because he had left his clear polish at home and he got called poof and gaylord. This was early 90s where those derogatory insults were more common, so he just stopped using nail polish altogether. Now his nails are a mess and he's never been able to grow them properly. Pippo Valmont said, "When I was a child, around 10 years old, in Portuguese class I remember my teacher saying that if a guy uses words in the diminutive too much he is probably gay, so the girls should be aware of that sign. Since some people will probably be confused, in English when you want to say that a ball is small you can say little ball, the direct equivalent of that would be bola pequena in Portuguese, but if you want to, you can skip the adjective and just add a suffix to the word bola, which would become bolinha." Annoyed Badger 16 said, "I am gay, but the people I worked with did not know it. I don't generally discuss my private life at work." A colleague ripped a button off their clothing, and I offered to stitch it back on with a small kit I keep in my bag. Was told that sewing stuff is gay and unmanly. Sure mate, being able to repair your clothing is unmanly, and you know one thing that's never come up when I get a bloke back to my place for fun times? Sewing. You'd be shocked just how often it totally fails to be a topic of interest common to gay encounters. Come back and take a look at my cross stitch is not the most successful pickup line. Also got told at uni that being able to cook was gay, by some girls in my block who could not feed themselves safely if presented with a fridge full of fresh ingredients. Yes, starving to death is the ultimate in manly straightness. Wormusich said, "I'm a gay female, but I was strictly Christian, with strictly Christian friends until I figured my sexuality out. We were literally bros with my friends. We didn't hug, because that was lesbian behavior. We greeted each other with fist bumps. I couldn't say she is my girlfriend. In my language, the term friend is gendered. It makes more sense there. We always said pal or buddy so it doesn't sound gay. Kissing someone on the cheek was the epitome of lesbianism. Also one time I was called a lesbian for braiding one of my classmates' hair, because apparently braiding someone's hair is also gay. I don't know, it was weird. But the weirdest part is that me kissing one of them in elementary somehow wasn't gay, just curiosity.